When did you become someone you didn't recognize? My daughter Ren hadn't dated anyone since her mother died 3 years ago, so when she finally brought someone home to meet me, I was terrified of ruining it. Andrew showed up in a button-down shirt with a firm handshake and a bottle of decent wine, looking me straight in the eye when he promised to treat Ren with respect. I've been practicing what to say all week, worried I'd come across as the overprotective father who'd already driven Ren to cancel 2 other relationships before they got serious enough for introductions. After her mother's death, Ren and I had become each other's whole world, and I knew she needed to let someone else in, even if it scared me to share her. And Andrew seemed great. When he found out I loved fishing and his whole face lit up. He told me about trips with his late father before cancer took him 2 years ago. That weekend, Andrew joined me at the lake, just the 2 of us. We spent 6 hours on the water talking about everything from his accounting job to his plans to propose once he saved enough for a proper ring. He asked my advice about marriage and being a good partner, genuinely listening when I talked about losing my wife and how I wished I'd had more time with her. When I mentioned that Ren had barely smiled since the funeral, Andrew promised he'd do everything to bring joy back into her life. When he helped me load the boat and I called him son, his eyes watered like I'd given him something he'd been missing since his dad died. Over the next few months, Andrew became the son I'd never had, and more importantly, he brought Ren back to life. Every time I saw her, there were more hints of the happy girl I'd missed since her mother died. Andrew would stop by on weekends to help with yard work, while Ren pulled nursing shifts, fixed my garage door without letting me pay him, and started joining me for Thursday night dinners when Ren worked late. During Thanksgiving, he gave this beautiful toast about finding not just love with Ren, but the family he'd lost when his father died, and everyone got emotional, including my brother, who never cries at anything. When my own father died suddenly in February, Andrew took time off work to help with arrangements and stood beside me at the service like actual family. He even asked my blessing to propose with his grandmother's vintage ring, and I told him nothing would make me happier than officially calling him my son. We started taking weekend trips together, all 3 of us, camping at state parks where Andrew would wake up early to make everyone coffee over the fire. During a trip to the mountains, he taught me how to fly fish, something I'd always wanted to learn, but never had anyone patient enough to show me. He stood in the freezing river for 3 hours, fixing my casting technique, never getting frustrated when I tangled the line for the 20th time. Watching Ren watch us from the shore, smiling like I hadn't seen since before the cancer took her mother, I thought maybe we'd both found our way through GR, but then everything came crashing down. One night someone was pounding on my door so hard I grabbed the baseball bat from my closet. When I yanked it open ready to swing, Ren stood there in pajamas, barefoot in the freezing cold, the entire left side of her face swollen purple and black. Her eye was completely shut, and blood dripped from her split lip onto her white shirt as she collapsed into my arms, sobbing so hard she couldn't speak. She finally told me Andrew had been hitting her for months, starting with grabbed wrists and shoves, escalating to punches where clothes would hide the bruises. He'd convinced her she was lucky to have him after being so damaged by her mother's death that no one else would want someone so broken, that I'd finally seemed happy again, and she'd ruin that if I knew. Tonight he'd gotten drunk and accused her of cheating because she smiled at the grocery store clerk and punched her unconscious when she tried to leave. The man I'd called son had been destroying my daughter while I taught him my grandfather's fishing spots and trusted him with family recipes. I thought about all the signs I'd missed while celebrating Ren's return to happiness. The makeup getting heavier, her flinching when Andrew moved too quickly, the way she'd gone quiet at dinners while he told all the stories, her asking about a girl's trip and Andrew laughing about why she'd need to go anywhere without him, that strange moment at Easter when she dropped a plate and went white with terror before Andrew smiled and said accidents happen, how she'd stopped wearing her usual clothes and started covering every inch of skin. My daughter had been screaming for help in silence while I thanked Andrew for bringing her back to life. I held Ren while she cried herself to sleep on my couch, her body still shaking, even unconscious from whatever trauma I couldn't see under her clothes. When she woke up hours later, disoriented and terrified until she recognized my living room, I looked at her destroyed face and thought about what her mother would want me to do. My wife had made me promise before she died that I'd protect our daughter no matter what it took, that I'd be both parents, both protector and nurturer. Looking at Ren's destroyed face, I felt something cold and final settle deep in my chest, knowing exactly what her mother would expect from me now. I kissed her forehead gently around the bruises and tucked the blanket tighter around her shoulders. I'm going to take care of this permanently, I told her, my voice coming from somewhere I didn't recognize, and you're never going to have to worry about Andrew again. Full story on the channel below.